Oh no, terrible things have happened. Okay. Woo, there we go. Now. All right, so section 3 is a crucial idea in statistics, and it's the idea of hypothesis testing. So, in hypothesis testing, we are going to assess two competing claims. So you can imagine the previous question, is there the balloon technique superior to surgery or is it not, would be our two competing claims. And we're going to be doing this to make some sort of conclusion about P, our true population proportion. So it is very similar to confidence interval because in a confidence interval we can make some statements, but in a confidence interval we're looking to estimate versus we're looking to test a claim in section 3. So our hypotheses. We have two hypotheses are competing. The null hypotheses we're going to denote with an H with a little tiny subscript of 0. This is basically like our starting point. In our particular examples, in part 6, this is always going to be some statement about P equaling some value. So I'm going to go ahead and do this for the balloon technique. Even though that question is later. I know. Why I do this. I don't know. Actually, let's go ahead to make it different than what I'll do later. Let's do this for the dice rolling example that we were doing in class, right? We made a confidence interval for the proportion of even dice rolls. So we know that the proportion of even dice rolls should be 50%. Now, we could end up with a funky die. On Thursday's class, I ended up getting 72 as my P hat. I kept rolling 4s, so maybe my die was not fair. Maybe it was giving me out more 4s for some reason. So in that case, I'd be looking at a one-tailed test. I'd be looking at an alternative, which we'll use a little a, that P was actually greater than 50%. There are 3 different alternatives. We have the right-tailed, which is when we say the greater than. We have a left-sided, which is when we say we think it is less than whatever our value is. And we have a two-sided, which is where we say, I don't care whether or not it's greater or less than 50%. I just want to show it's not equal to 50%. So, some more about this. Our null hypothesis is our initial assumption. So in our court case example, we had to initially assume the client is innocent, and then we present evidence until we can hopefully, beyond a reasonable doubt, say that that is not true. They must be guilty. And our alternative hypothesis is what we want to prove. All right? So in the balloon catheter example, we would have a null and an alternative about P. Not the surgery success rate, because we know that's 60%, but P, the balloon technique success rate. And so we wanted to show that it was superior, right? This is our right-tailed test. And always here on our null, we're going to say that it is equal to 60%. Now, technically, it is also correct to say that it is less than or equal to 60%, because that's truly the alternative of greater than. But really, we're just going to always put in equals here, because the less than or equal to doesn't truly matter. All right, so I have an insanely silly example coming up next. Feel free to skip this and jump straight to a real example, but if you want to kind of see something that maybe makes a little more sense, you can watch the next videos.